The lights inside the AGT studio dim as a quiet buzz spreads through the audience. A young Filipino man named Marco Dela Cruz, wearing a simple denim jacket and clutching an old microphone charm around his neck, steps onto the stage. His hands shake slightly, but his eyes shine with determination. The judges look up, curious. Heidi smiles warmly, Howie leans forward, and Sophia whispers something softly, noticing the nervousness in his voice when he introduces himself. Marco tells the judges that he grew up listening to Elvis with his late father, who worked overseas most of his life. The audience grows still as he explains that singing Elvis always made him feel connected to the man who could not always be with him, but taught him everything through letters, old CDs, and grainy concert recordings. Simon, unusually gentle, asks, "So, this song means something to you?" Marco nods, swallowing emotion. As he positions himself in front of the mic, the stage crew signals readiness. The audience waits. A strange mixture of fear and passion rushes through him, almost knocking the air out of his lungs. But Marco closes his eyes, takes one long breath, and remembers his father's voice telling him, "Son, when you sing, sing with your heart." The spotlight brightens across his face, warming his cheeks. The entire room is silent, anticipating something, but unsure what. Marco's hands steady. His chest rises. His lips part. And in that exact second, even before a note comes out, the crowd feels something powerful is about to happen. The judges lean closer. The music track starts, softly echoing across the studio. Something unexplainable is about to unfold. The moment Marco releases his first note, the audience gasps. The crisp, velvet-rich tone sounds uncannily like young Elvis Presley, not an imitation, but a natural resonance that seems born inside him. His voice trembles only for a heartbeat, then strengthens, filling the studio with a deep soulful warmth. Simon's eyes widen, his jaw dropping slightly. Heidi brings her hand to her chest. The camera operators instinctively push in for a close-up shot, sensing the magic emerging on stage. Marco shifts his stance, letting the music take over. As he moves into the chorus, the edge of vulnerability in his voice blends with a surprising emotional power. People in the audience whisper things like, "Oh my God," and "He sounds exactly like Elvis." A woman wipes a tear. A man stands up without even realizing it. Marco isn't performing to impress, he's singing to remember. Every lyric shakes loose a memory of his father laughing, teaching him chords on a cheap guitar, telling him that Elvis wasn't just a singer, but a storyteller of the heart. At one point, Marco opens his eyes and stares at the judges. For a split second he wonders if he's dreaming. But the reaction he sees fills him with courage, Simon's intense stare, Heidi's shining smile, Sophia's emotional expression. The studio feels transformed. The music grows stronger. Marco lifts his chin, and for the first time in years, he feels his father's presence near him. It is no longer just a performance, it is a reunion. Halfway through the performance, an unexpected emotional wave hits the judging table. Simon, who has watched thousands of auditions, looks completely stunned. His usual calm posture disappears, he's leaning forward, elbows on the desk, eyes locked on Marco like he's witnessing something once in a lifetime. When Marco reaches the bridge of the song, his voice cracking with raw honesty, Simon presses his fingers against his lips. It's the expression he only gives when something deeply moves him. Even the audience senses this rare reaction and the arena quiets again. For a moment, Marco looks overwhelmed. Tears glisten at the corners of his eyes, but he stays in the song, letting the emotion pour out. The band lowers their volume, giving his voice center stage. Simon whispers something to himself, barely audible. He's unreal, absolutely unreal. Sophia glances at him, surprised to see him so affected. She wipes a tear herself. Because Marco isn't just hitting notes, he's living them. Each phrase feels like a conversation with his late father, a kind of spiritual duet crossing time and distance. As the song approaches its final refrain, Simon leans back slowly, taking a breath as if collecting himself. He blinks rapidly, fighting the emotion building in his eyes. It's a side the world rarely sees from him, one that only surfaces when a performer sings from a place deeper than talent, somewhere in the soul. Everyone in the room can feel it. Marco isn't just performing, he's healing. And that healing is spilling into every heart in the room, including Simon's. The music softens into the last line. Marco gathers every memory, every ache, every ounce of longing inside him and pours it into the final note. It rings out, pure, aching, powerful. A perfect mix of Elvis-like tone and Marco's own heartfelt identity. The audience is frozen. No clapping, no cheering. Just breathless silence. Even Marco wonders for a moment if he failed. His chest rises and falls quickly as he tries to catch his breath. Then, suddenly, the entire studio erupts. People leap to their feet. The applause is loud, overwhelming, thunderous. Heidi stands first, cheering with both hands in the air. Howie slams his fist on the desk in excitement. Sophia looks emotional, nodding proudly. Simon doesn't stand immediately. Instead, he closes his eyes for a brief second, taking in what just happened. Then he rises, slowly, deliberately. The crowd screams even louder. Marco covers his face as tears pour out. He never expected this reaction. He never expected the world to feel what he felt. The applause refuses to stop. It rolls through the studio like a wave, powerful, continuous, unstoppable. Marco shakes his head in disbelief, smiling and crying at the same time. His hands tremble as he lowers them, and he finally looks toward the judges' table. Simon meets his eyes with a softness rarely seen. The kind of expression only given to singers who perform from a place deeper than talent, a place of love. The moment becomes electric. Emotional. Legendary. Simon lifts his microphone, and the crowd quiets instantly. Marco, he begins, his voice gentler than usual. I've heard many Elvis renditions in my life, but never one like this. This wasn't an imitation. This was heart, soul, memory, and magic. The audience applauds again, sensing something big is coming. Simon continues, you reminded us why we love music. Not because it sounds good, but because it feels good. He pauses. And your father, wherever he is, would be so proud of you. Marco breaks again, tears streaming freely. The crowd cheers in support. Then Simon pushes back his chair. The room erupts into screams even before he moves. He steps forward, hand hovering over the golden buzzer. Marco gasps, covering his mouth. And then... boom! Simon slams his hand down. A massive explosion of golden confetti rains from the ceiling, swirling around Marco like shimmering memories brought to life. He drops to his knees, overwhelmed, clutching his father's old charm. The judges stand, applauding. The audience chants his name. Stagehands rush out to hug him as he cries into his hands. Marco looks upward through the golden storm, whispering, "This is for you, Dad." It becomes one of the most emotional moments in AGT history, an unforgettable performance, a son's tribute, and the night a Filipino singer made the world fall silent before making it roar.